Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? The New Orleans Saints announced today that training camp and select training camp practices are, in fact, going to be open to fans. And that is phenomenal news. Just another sign as the NFL continues to be more progressive in coming back from COVID. This was the case a year ago when things were shutting down and the NFL had the draft and they had free agency and they just continued progressing and ultimately had a season. They just found a way. It was getting me to a yes, and the NFL did that over and over again and had a season. So they continue to be progressive here and finding a way into training camp. And now, obviously, they're going to have fans at training camp, which is awesome to see. So Saints fans will have an opportunity to attend 7 training camp practices. If you want to get tickets there, it's free, but if you want to get tickets to training camp practices, they are limited. So you can go to the website, neworleanssaints.com, to find out information on how you can get those tickets. So what I wanted to do today is yesterday was 1 month out from the preseason opener against the Baltimore Ravens. So we're less than a month away from the start of training camp. There are a handful of positions that I am most interested in watching unfold throughout this training camp. So let's run through those if we could. For me, by the way, the joys of the NFL versus college, where there's like limited to no access to most everything in the NFL. They even let fans come watch practice. It's phenomenal. Anyway, I highlighted 4 position battles that I am interested really in watching. And sometimes it might even be just players that I'm interested in watching in Saints training camp. Number 1 is Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo, the defensive back out of Stanford, who a year ago was projected to be a potential first-round draft pick, who opted out of this year at Stanford, didn't play, goes into the draft, saw his stock slip a little bit, but long, rangy corner who fits the mold of the current day and age of the NFL, the prototypical NFL corner, a guy who at one point in his career was projected as a first-round caliber guy. Can Paulson Adebo show up and in this training camp prove that he deserves to be a starting cornerback in the NFL day one? If he does, that alleviates so much pressure off of this team as they make their way through training camp and what they may do in free agency. We heard the unfortunate news about Richard Sherman. That certainly leaves him up in the air. Dre Kirkpatrick is someone the Saints have had come in. I still think they're going to add a cornerback somewhere along the way, but if Paulson Adebo is ready to roll, he may make that a moot point. Next is the guy who the Saints spent a first-round draft pick on a season ago, and that is Cesar Ruiz. Cesar Ruiz played a lot as a rookie. He played 744 snaps of the more than 1,000 offensive snaps that the Saints had throughout the course of the season. Cesar Ruiz played in 15 of the team's 16 games, but he made just 9 starts. As a matter of fact, at the start of the season, Cesar Ruiz was beaten out by Nick Easton, the guy who we weren't even sure if he was going to make the team, and because of the unfortunate concussion issues, has had to retire. But Cesar Ruiz, as a rookie, while he did not allow a sack and only had 1 penalty, still only graded out by Pro Football Focus at a 58.6. That's not good. This is a guy who you invested a lot in round 1 that has to be a dominant starting player in the NFL. We all know his best position is at center, but Eric McCoy is a Pro Bowl caliber center right now in the NFL. And they're not going to move Eric McCoy unless they absolutely have to. So the impetus is really on Cesar Ruiz to prove that he can be a dominant interior player. Look, you're playing in between Eric McCoy and Ryan Ramczyk. You're playing between 2 dominant players. Don't muck it up. This is time for Cesar Ruiz to take a step here in year 2 and become a dominant player on the interior. I am also fascinated to watch the Saints' number 2 wide receiver battle. Talked about it already. Mike Thomas. Everyone is sleeping on Mike Thomas. And it's like you forgot how dominant he was in his first 4 years. Like, literally the most dominant first 4 years ever for a receiver. Like, he's phenomenal. And everybody forgot it because he had a bum ankle last year. And I'm not just talking about pass catchers because I think that's moot. You've got Mike Thomas, you've got Alvin Kamara, you've got Adam Troutman. They're going to spread the ball around. But last year, with an injured Mike Thomas, the Saints' top 3 pass catchers were Alvin Kamara, Emmanuel Sanders, and Jared Cook. Sanders and Cook are gone. Kamara's back, but so is Mike Thomas. I'm talking about who's going to be the next wide receiver. When Thomas went down, you didn't have a receiver step up. Who is it going to be? Is it Tre'Quan Smith finally? Quite honestly, I'm sick of waiting on him. I want to see Marquez Callaway. I want to see if Deontay Harris can consistently do what he did in the playoff games against the Bears, where he was targeted 7 times and caught every damn pass that was thrown his way. What about Lil'Jordan Humphrey? Or Juwan Johnson? Or maybe another unknown guy that's an undrafted free agent that Sean Payton plucks off the street and turns into an all-pro caliber receiver. Maybe. We've seen it before. Who's going to be the number 2 wide receiver behind Mike Thomas? We talk about that often. I'm curious who it's going to be this year. And this one's a little bit of an oddball, admittedly. But is Blake Gillikin going to be the punter? Yo, Thomas Morstead, if you don't realize this, and you probably do when I say it out loud, but Thomas Morstead is 4th in Saints history in games played. Only Drew Brees, Morton Anderson, and Ricky Jackson played in more games for New Orleans than did Thomas Morstead. That's incredible. This is the first time since 2009 that the Saints are looking for a punter. Blake Gillikin's the guy they brought in last year as an undrafted dude out of Penn State. They liked him enough to keep him around and obviously liked him enough to move on from Thomas Morstead. They also brought in Nolan Cooney, who's a rookie from Syracuse, who's going to battle Gillikin for that starting job. It's interesting because it's the first time we've had this conversation in more than a decade. So let's see if Gillikin can lock down this job, if Nolan Cooney can push him, or if the Saints have to turn to another direction. Less than a month away from the start of training camp. Football nerds rejoice. My hand's in the air. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.